My name is SmartAlec24, and this is No Labels Allowed. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of No Labels Allowed. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. Now, before I begin this episode, I do want to say that next week we will be discussing and reviewing a movie. I know I said I would cover movies in this show too, and I will do it, but that'll be next week. Today, we're going to do a little retrospective on a video game system that had a ton of potential, but was all wasted. A gaming system that, while not incredibly revolutionary or anything, still could have performed better than it did if it had been taken more seriously. Let's talk about the Wii U. The Wii U is a video game system released by Nintendo in 2012, and to put it bluntly, it was a failure. Sales were lackluster, third-party support was pretty much non-existent, and the games library was just rough. That being said, I did get a Wii U in 2014, and I still own it today. So, what do I think of this system? As I said, I did get a Wii U in 2014, Christmas to be exact. It was already out for 2 years at that point, so there were a fair amount of games on the system at the time. There was a bundle on Best Buy that included a deluxe set Wii U with Mario Kart 8, Super Mario 3D World, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and Nintendo Land. Essentially 4 games and the system for roughly $350 total. It was a pretty good steal, honestly. I want to make something clear before I continue. I did not hate the Wii U. I actually thought it was a great system that was marketed horribly and a system that no third-party company wanted in on. The only third-party games I recall ever getting for the Wii U were Zombie U, which I wasn't impressed by, Lego Marvel Superheroes, which is a fine game, but you can play that pretty much anywhere else. Typo Man, an indie game that has since been released on Steam, and the Bayonetta games. Yes, Bayonetta 2 was exclusive to Wii U, but the first game wasn't. It's third party. I actually did enjoy a lot of the games on the Wii U. Some of those games include Mario Kart 8, Smash 4, Mario 3D World, Pikmin 3, Yoshi's Woolly World, Typo Man, Splatoon, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, Mario Maker, Bayonetta games, Nintendo Land, and Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, just to name a few. Not a bad lineup of games, right? Well, unfortunately, this was pretty much all the Wii U had, and a ton of these games ended up getting ported to the Switch. Even though the Wii U was backwards compatible with everything that could be played on the Wii U failed to add more games to their virtual console service that weren't available on the Wii. The GameCube had a ton of great games, none of which were made available on Wii U. Giant missed opportunity. Anyways, I want to discuss 2 games that I genuinely think are the best games on the Wii U, one of which perfectly utilized everything the Wii U had to offer. There were other games besides these 2, but they were ported to the Switch, so I'll refrain from discussing those. The first game I want to talk about is Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 was a gorgeous game, and it played very well. It utilized the Wii U gamepad, something hardly any other Wii U title did. You could use the Wii Remote and Nunchuck to move around and aim, and use the gamepad to view stats, view the map, and switch between the 3 playable characters. The developers of Pikmin went all in, and it showed. Pikmin 3 is one of my favorite games on Wii U, and by extension, one of my favorite games of all time. And I am desperately hoping Nintendo ports the game to the Switch, or makes another Pikmin game. Come on, Nintendo, I know you're listening to this. Make another Pikmin, or port Pikmin 3. Who am I kidding? They're not listening to this. The second game I want to discuss is Yoshi's Woolly World. Now, this game didn't really use many features of the gamepad, but the game itself was fantastic. The visuals were amazing, the gameplay was very fluid, and the music was fun to listen to. This is another game I'd love to see a Switch port for, but we did get Yoshi's Crafted World, which I also really liked. In hindsight, Woolly World wasn't the greatest game ever or anything, but I did have a blast playing it. Given how little of a library the Wii U had overall, I really enjoyed playing this game when nothing else was really out there. I mentioned the little library, and I know for a fact some people want to fact check me on this. They want to go back and look at every E3 from the past, see what Nintendo announced. I appreciate you wanting to do this, but I'm just going to stop you right there. Yes, E3 2013 was pretty cool. It announced Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U, showed footage of games like Tropical Freeze, Pikmin 3, and 2014 was decent as well, but E3 2015 for Nintendo, oof. Let me make one thing very clear. One game cannot save your E3. Even though they showed off Super Mario Maker, which I actually liked and ended up buying, that was it. Everything else was incredibly lackluster, and this was where I could tell Nintendo was struggling. Of course, blind Nintendo followers said Nintendo won that E3, but I could tell they lost. Everything else they showed that year was either boring, uninteresting, or just stuff no one wanted or no one asked for. I do want to address something else that happened in 2015, and that is the unfortunate passing of Satoru Iwata. Iwata was the man responsible for many of Nintendo's successes, mainly the Wii and the Nintendo DS. Iwata was someone I looked up to at the time, as years ago I wanted to get into computer science and maybe make my own video games. While my aspirations have since changed, Iwata is still someone I respect and someone who truly changed gaming for the better. I was asked at one point, do you think the Wii U failed because of Iwata? And it is one of the, if not the stupidest questions I've ever been asked. Iwata cut his salary in half to keep the Wii U going, and believe it or not, he was the head developer of the Nintendo Switch in the last months of his life. The Switch is either Nintendo's best or second best console ever released, in my opinion. If anything, Iwata saved Nintendo, and everyone else at the company kept that success going. Rest in peace, Mr. Iwata. We miss you. Now, I know I might have gotten a little bit fired up there, but I still want to discuss some failings of the Wii U. I kind of want to just start with the console name. Nintendo's idea with the Wii was, well, Wii is easy to remember and pronounce everywhere. It's a system that encourages multiplayer, like Wii, and the two eyes kind of look like two players, blah, blah, blah. Hey, that works. But Wii U? Oh, well, it's games not just for us, but for you. I'm not sure what kind of a statement this is. Games on the Wii already are for everyone. That was the point of the Wii, make it accessible for everyone. The Wii U clearly had no real direction. I'll be completely honest here, if the Wii U was just called Wii HD or something, it would have sold more units. I genuinely would love to see a timeline where that's the case. Nintendo is big on innovation and finding new ways to play, but you can't do this if you do not have a clear, concise direction. Another problem with the name, it's way too similar to the Wii. People were legitimately confused when the Wii U was announced, since Nintendo didn't even show the console in the reveal video. I remember sitting there. I only saw the controller. I never even saw the console itself. It would be like Sony revealing a DualShock 5 without announcing a PS5. It just doesn't work. Another problem, though minor in my opinion, is that the Wii U was only slightly more powerful than the PS3 and the Xbox 360, but since Sony and Microsoft were already looking ahead to their next consoles, the Wii U was already far behind, technically speaking. Developers already knew how to make HD games, whereas Nintendo had to play catch-up. I've never cared about how the graphics look in a game as long as the game is fun to play, and that's an opinion I still stand by. Speaking of hardware and the console itself, the gamepad controller I actually rarely used. I'd use it for games that required it, sure, but for games that didn't require it, I went with the Wii U Pro Controller, which had an incredibly long battery life. The gamepad's battery life was about 3 hours, whereas the Pro Controller was somewhere around 80 hours, I think. The gamepad isn't necessarily a bad controller, and it's surprisingly comfortable to hold, despite the size of it. But as far as the controller offering new ways to play, very few games truly took advantage of that. So, what do I think of the Wii U today? Well, unsurprisingly, I don't play it anymore, but I still own mine for collection purposes. I still have my games for it, but if a game got ported to the Switch, I sold my Wii U copy to get a Switch copy. I even soft modded my Wii U so I could put emulators on there, but given I already own a ton of other game systems, I probably won't go that far. I think the Wii U had a lot of potential that was just ruined by no third-party support and horrendous marketing. Seriously, go look up commercials advertising the Wii U. They are not good. They're not good. On a technical level, the Wii U should at least be better than the Wii since it can do everything the Wii can do already, right? Well, technically, yeah, that's true, but if you look at the Wii just by itself, that system had a ton more games, even if it wasn't HD or didn't have a, quote, normal controller by default. Even games like Super Smash Bros. 4 feel obsolete. Smash Ultimate is a much better game in my opinion and has every character from previous games back. It has almost every stage from the past games back. It has a ton of music and an adventure mode, something Smash 4 lacks. Smash 4 wasn't a bad game, but why play that when everyone's playing Ultimate, which is a stronger game in my opinion? In fact, let me take it a step further. The Wii U itself is obsolete. It's almost like Nintendo wants us to forget about the Wii U by porting a ton of the successful games from that system to the Switch, or making sequels such as Smash Ultimate and Mario Maker 2 that render the previous games obsolete. Overall, the Wii U, in theory, was a great system that had a ton of potential. But because Nintendo struggled to properly advertise, market, and sell this system to everyone, it was a failure. Maybe not Virtual Boy failure, but a failure nonetheless. Luckily, Nintendo learned from their mistakes, and their current system, the Nintendo Switch, is doing very well. It's like the Wii U had to struggle for the Switch to be as good as it is. One day I'll discuss the Switch and my thoughts on that system, but we'll save that for another day. That concludes episode 4 of No Labels Allowed. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe and take care.